different. Maybe that's the same, but yeah. So I leave sticks because of fungi. If it's in my way, I'll move it, but it's not in my way. That's my old burn pile. I don't think I'm gonna burn it this year. Or not, I don't think I'm gonna burn it because it's good wood to use for building, but it's not good for like in the house. So here's a plum, but I think the frost messed with it this year, or it didn't get pollinated, because I don't think I see anything going on as far as fruit. But here's another gooseberry or currant, and here's a gooseberry that I pulled out of the woods a couple years ago, and there's gooseberries all over it. So yeah, all of these were planted about 4 or 5 years ago, this whole little area. And I got a bunch of peaches on this white princess peach. It's doing pretty good, but there's some more of that parasite or something. I don't know what to do about that. Maybe just let it go. There's a raspberry growing back behind it. I didn't plant that, but look at all those flowers. So that's cool. And here's my yellow golden delicious apple. It's kind of slow growing, but I had a deer chomp on it last year, but it's doing good. He wasn't chomping, he was pruning. That's the way I like to think about it. He was pruning it better than I know how. And here's a currant or gooseberry. And I thought this thing died, but so here, let me get a better angle. I planted this same like 4 years ago, 5 years ago maybe. And as you can see, nothing happened with it. And then this other tree grew up next to it. And I think it's the same thing, apricot. I think it's an apricot tree that, I don't know, I just don't think this thing wanted to live, and it shot up another set next to it. So that's pretty cool. And then here's a mulberry again I planted, but I don't even see any fruit. Oh, tiny fruit. I just transplanted it. I'll probably end up put grafting onto it or something with some of these better fruiting ones. But then here's my pear, which I can't remember which kind of pear. It might be like Ayers or something like that, but that's what I bought. And then it got pruned by a deer, and all of this happened. So those deer really know what they're doing. And here's another honeyberry, or not honeyberry, but gooseberry or currant. And here's some blueberries that were planted like 25 years ago, I'm guessing. There's the flowers, here's the fruit. So it's gonna be a pretty good year again for these. I don't know how they got blueberries to grow here 25-30 years ago without internet. Like, whoever planted them knew what they were doing. This is my vegetable garden. I've got actually a bunch of melons on this side, and corn and beans, and then some amaranth. I just planted it like 2 days ago, so you can't really see it right now. But more amaranth and a bunch of tomatoes and peppers, and then pumpkins. So hopefully it turns out to be a good year on that. Here's another gooseberry or currant, and I try to turn, or I try not to turn the garden every year. So I do a garden here and then I do a garden there. Like, that was my first year garden, and I just let it go after that, and this tree popped up, and so there's a big mulberry tree, and it's actually a female, so there's fruit all over it, and it kind of is putting a cool understory under there. And then that's another mulberry, and over there's a maple on the other side. So I just let things kind of go after I till it 1 year. If I want this spot back, then I'll just cut this tree out and it'll be good firewood. But I don't need this spot. It's doing all right. So there's another raspberry. But yeah, so every year I move my garden. Like, that was last 2 years ago. This was last year's garden, and that's this year's spring garden. I'll get to that in a minute. But so back to the path. There's the blueberries again. There's a blueberry that I planted last year. It's doing really good, actually. Maybe I should... Oh, a rabbit. Sorry, guy. Scared him. So, yeah. I won't even look, because there's another one that's doing really good. Eventually we'll know. But, and then there's a gooseberry or currant. Kind of gotta stomp back some of the stuff. I put goat poop and chicken poop all around, and hay all around everything this year. So it's really the only fertilizing I'm doing. Blueberries, I did put a little bit of phosphate around it last year, because they were not liking the 7 pH soil I've got here, which is really nice actually, but not for blueberries. But here's a currant and gooseberry. Here's a common mullein, which you can use it for like respiratory, like asthma and stuff like that. I kind of ran over it with the mower, but I tried not to mow it. So yeah, it's gonna put off some good seeds this year. It's actually the second year for it, so this is the year for seed. And then here's a blackberry. This is actually my least great blackberry, because here's another blackberry, and it's doing comparison. It's doing a lot better. There's another one doing pretty good. Here's another mulberry that I'll probably cut out eventually. And here's another blackberry. And here's another blackberry. And there's a blackberry. There's a blackberry. And there used to be a blackberry, but it didn't make it. And there's a blueberry. And there used to be a blueberry over here, but it didn't make it. I think there was a blueberry over here too, but it didn't make it either. Oh, yeah, like right there. There's a gooseberry or currant. So this trellis thing, I'm gonna try to keep them in line with the trellis, but might just let them go wild because nature doesn't do this. So might take this all down, we'll see. But you know, all this grass, you can use grass to make rope, so it's got its uses. And when it, so you see how all that grass died and kind of turned into a mulch? Well, that's what all of this is kind of turning into mulch on its own. So eventually I'm gonna have good soil, or like room for plants to grow. So over here was last year's garden. I've got all kinds of stuff that is still growing. Here's some parsley, and it's good stuff. Bunch of mare's tail, I believe, or might be an aster, like a fleabane daisy or whatever. But wood sorrel, that's really sweet. We've got some mint, pepper or spearmint. This one's spearmint. And there's a lamb's quarter that's gonna pop up right in the middle of it. I probably should get rid of that, but it's a lamb's quarter kind of accumulates micronutrients like